Hi friends. Uh, COVID-19 has thrown up a lot of challenges for everyone across the globe. Many companies are closing down. Some very well-known companies are closing down, downsizing. Some are changing their product line. Some are wondering what to do. And lots of things are happening across the world. So it's a challenging time for all of us. I am 74 years old, had a 52 years of very rich professional life. In my life, I have been associated with various professional bodies, including the Ahmedabad Management Association, All India Management Association, National AHRD Network, NIPM, ISTD, ISABS, Academy of HRD, Indian Society for Educational Technology, which I'm not sure if it exists anymore, Indian Psychological Association, and so on and so forth. We have even formulated a new body in other countries called the National Entrepreneurial Research and Development Association, which doesn't anymore exist because it has been taken over by government of Malaysia in those days. I am quite concerned about the professional bodies and the way forward. The COVID 19 has thrown many people out of balance. These professional bodies have both an opportunity as well as challenge. The most important point I like to make is that these professional bodies, some of them are as old as 70 years. For example, the NIPM, though started in 1980, has its origins even about 20 years before that. So it is more than 50 to 40 to 70 years old. ISTD 50 years old. National HRD Network 35 years old. Academy of HRD 30 years. Ahmedabad Management Association 65 years old. AIMA about 60 years. So all of them have had a rich life and have contributed a great deal in terms of achieving whatever mission they were set to. Several certificate programs have been started by some of them, executive development programs, research, publications, and so on. Marvelous work. Full marks for all that they have been doing so far. However, COVID 19 has thrown, like it has thrown the corporate sector out of balance, countries out of balance, it has also thrown the professional bodies out of balance. There is one thing professional bodies are somewhat lucky about, because they are run by volunteers who donate their time as president, secretaries, treasurers, board members, and so on. However, over a period of time, they have also built up a good set of assets, both the permanent material assets like the buildings, offices, and so on, and some human assets. I think a time has come to review how we put these assets into operation, because the old models are not going to work. The running paid programs are not going to be easy anymore. Maybe certificates will go on, but certificates need to be totally revamped to suit the requirements of the future. Suddenly, some of them will realize that the asset has become a liability. This may be true in relation to particularly human resources. If they have full-time permanent staff with 5-star, 4-star, 3-star salaries, you will suddenly discover that these have become now liabilities because your sources of revenue have dried out. Most of these bodies are not run by the membership fee. Membership fee consists only of a small part of their revenues. A large part of the revenues come from conferences, programs, certificate courses, and things like that. All of these are going to, in many cases, dry up. For example, the Indian Society for Applied Behavioral Science cannot anymore have the laboratories conducted the same way they used to be, because of social distance requirements and also because of various other kind of things that are thrown up by COVID-19. The same way, conferences may have to be postponed for some time. And when you go online conferences, they will have similar limitations in terms of the revenues. Certificate programs may, to some extent, go on. All in all, I think there is going to be a severe strain on the revenues of all these bodies. The reason for my taking time to communicate some of my thoughts and some of my advice to all these professional bodies is that these bodies, quite unlike the corporate sector, in corporate sector everyday matters, bread and butter is involved. But in corporate sector, they have the full-time employees who are looking after, which includes the managing director, the CEOs, the board members, and a whole lot of other people. Whereas in the professional bodies, they have presidents, secretaries, treasurers, and board who are all honorary people who donate their time. And unfortunately, all these members are busy managing the challenges posed by COVID-19 in their own respective organizations. Then what happens is the entire organization or the professional body may have to be maybe run by default by some of those who are full-time employees not knowing where to go, and there is a high possibility that the current infrastructure, particularly the human infrastructure, may depend upon the accumulated reserves that these bodies have. I want to say that it is very unfortunate if the accumulated reserves have to be, which have been the result of donated time of a large number of professionals across the last several years, if they have to be used, and if the full-time people who are there and who have enjoyed the benefits of all that these bodies have given them in the last few years cannot take care of, cannot revisit, cannot reboot, I think this is going to be a very serious matter all these bodies will face. I am sure that the president, secretaries, treasurers of all these bodies would find it very difficult to call the full-time members and say that, look, from tomorrow onwards you are not going to be a full-time employee, or you have to start with a different model and so on, because they are busy with their own kind of things. I don't want this situation for most of these professional bodies to happen. So my appeal to you is that it is high time to review, look at your revenue models, reboot yourself if necessary by revisiting all that you are set to, and look at what is going to be the future and so on. Fortunately, this is a thing that has to be done not by the full-time employees, because they very understandably there will be issues, particularly political issues, that get raised if the full-time employees are asked to review themselves, because they will choose ways that may not be the most appropriate kind of ways. Therefore, friends, I think it is time that these bodies should mobilize internal resources. Particularly, I would strongly recommend there will be many senior citizens in your bodies who will have enough time in their hands and who will be able to, unbiased way, without expecting any honorarium, etc., will be able to walk with you to review and reboot and look at the future and so on. So use them. Also, friends, one of the things that the COVID-19 has thrown up is a lot of people have been thrown out of jobs, and some of them are very competent. It's not their fault they're on the roads, but they're very competent people, and many of them may be very happy to volunteer and offer voluntary services to take your professional body to new heights. So friends, I would like to appeal to you, particularly the office bearers of these bodies, please spare some little time, think carefully, reboot, review, rework your revenue models. This is a greater opportunity as well as a challenge. So I hope you don't mind somebody like me addressing all these professional bodies. There may be some minor variations in the way these bodies are being conducted. Some of them may be lucky because from beginning they kept their secretariats to be very low cost, very lean and thin, and didn't invest too much on infrastructure like buildings and so on. However, some others may not be as lucky. It will be a big challenge for them. But my appeal to you is, please pay attention to this. Please prove yourself to be worthy of the profession. Please exercise the responsibility and accountability you have as office bearers of these bodies, and you must appoint special task forces to make use of the opportunities offered by COVID-19, and also to review, rejuvenate, and reboot yourselves. Thank you very much. I have very fond hope you will all be very successful, uh, and all the best from me for all professions.